I want to talk about the Nigerian police force. Every time I travel to other countries and I see their police force, their policemen, and how well they are respected in those countries, I always weep for the Nigerian police force. There's this issue about indecent dressing in Delta State that is currently trending. I saw a video by Israel Joe, addressing the police on that. It's a very big shame the way and manner many of our policemen conduct themselves in society today and making themselves look like the real enemies of the people. It's a very big shame. All over the world, policemen are supposed to, be seen as responsible people with distinguished character, people who stick to the rules as agents, of the law. So, but I don't understand what's gone wrong with the Nigerian police force. If you come to the UK today, you'll find out that the UK police force, they don't bear firearms, they don't carry guns, but they are among the most respected in the whole world, the whole universe. Take it anywhere, the UK police force. It's so organized. And people dread them, as in, when you see a policeman, you are driving on the way, you see a police vehicle, even if, in fact, you start re-examining yourself immediately to be sure everything is okay, you are another. Just merely seeing them alone, seeing their vehicle alone. And most times I discovered here that police, you hardly see more than 2 policemen in a vehicle driving as a team. Unlike the Nigerian context that you see battalion, you see 10 policemen in one van, 8 policemen in one van, going to a particular assignment or patrolling and all that. You don't see that here. They respect them so much. In fact, to shock you, there was a community I visited, a rural community I visited. There was just only one policeman in that community. Just one single policeman in that community that polices the entire community. And I was told that that community has 0 criminal activities. That the only criminal activities they recorded in recent time in that community was a man's dog that attacked a cow and inflicted injury on the cow. And now there's investigation going on to find out whose dog that committed that crime. So that's the only crime that has been committed for decades in that community. In fact, in that community, I'm going to do a video about that community. I'm going to visit that community again and do a video about the community. It was in that community I first discovered, I saw what they call box of honesty box. That you go to buy something, you won't find anybody. Perhaps you want to buy something like maybe pastry products, you won't find anybody there, and you just see a box there that says you should drop your money there. You buy and drop your money there with 0 human, involvement. Nobody sees you. There's no camera anywhere. You just find your honesty box there. So you buy, you drop your money and go away. You can't try that in Nigeria. So there's urgent need to reform the Nigerian police. There's urgent need to reform the Nigerian police. And I also want to say here that it's very important, because sometimes when you see some policemen, you begin to ask yourself questions. How did this guy find himself here as a policeman? I mean, when you go to other countries, I remember that year I traveled to Germany when I arrived at Frankfurt, airport, international airport. I saw their policemen, very huge. If you see them, 6-pack, very huge. Their physique alone is even enough for you to behave yourself. You don't need to, when you see them, you go respect them, But we see some guys in Nigerian police force, you ask yourself, how on earth did these people get here? Then I think one very factor that should always be put into consideration in the recruitment exercise, because recruitment is very important. The medium through which these guys come in, how do you assess them? I think there should be a very important component that should be added, which is a component of psychology. They should analyze the psychological disposition of these people. Their attitude is very key. They should do inquiries about them. about their character. Character assessment is key, should be a key factor in recruiting policemen. Because our policemen, they are just like a lot of them. In fact, I lack adjective to qualify them when you see them on the road. They are just like demons, devil incarnate, that are just out there to, constitute nuisance. But that does not displace the fact that there are very responsible policemen, men in the police force, Nigerian police force today. But they are lesser than few. They are not much. The corrupt elements there are just way more than the good elements. And that's why it's very difficult to even talk about sanity. You have commissioners who come in with different objectives, programs and all that, operation this, operation that, sweep corruption from the police force, the enact rules and regulations, and these things are not properly, carried out by their men because of the high level of corruption in the police force and criminality. I remembered when I got kidnapped the other time, in the custody of my adopters, I could hear conversations. This guy is calling even men of, some uniform men, calling them, interacting with them about bullets, about guns, about different kind of things. So meaning there's connection. They work hand in hand. Some of these uniform men with this, and that's why it's been very difficult to solve this insecurity problem in Nigeria. Very difficult, because when there's a connection with criminality, between criminals and those who are supposed to enforce the law, then no matter how you try, you'll not be able to solve the problem of insecurity in the country. So I really want the government to look into reforming the police force. And also, very importantly, it is not the gun. It's important for the policemen to know, in fact, every Nigerian to know that it is not the guns that the policeman holds that commands respect. It is not the gun that commands obedience. It is the character and the behavior, the courage of the policeman. And most importantly, the institutional framework of a country that supports and establishes, and guides the police system. That is what determines the level of respect and obedience people give to the police force. Here, policemen in the UK, they don't hold guns, but people fear them. They respect them so much. And you see only one policeman can chase 10,000 robbers without iota of fear or anything. Only one policeman here. Only one policeman. If you see any police vehicle, you see is usually maximum of two. Two makes it. Two make a team here. Two. But Nigeria battalion with full a big lorry just to chase only one small, or go and attend to a little social crisis somewhere. So the institutional framework and the individual character disposition of the men of the police force is what commands the respect. Some of them talk so erratically to their to Nigerians, and without Nigerians, there won't be police force. The reason for the constitution, or maybe the as the establishment of police force, is to ensure there is, peace, to enforce the law. They are law enforcement agents to ensure there is peace and order in society. Then the people they constituted or established to guide, to protect, they are not the people you are unleashing is it meme or maybe whatever on horror on. It doesn't make sense, because you are being paid from these people's taxes. That's where you get your salaries from. So you have to respect them. Like they say marketing, that the customer is a king. The people, the citizens, they are kings. You should respect them. But that does not mean that the citizens should be stupid. Because I know there are a lot of stupid citizens too, who are just full of all they think about is criminal tendencies, sharp practices, and all that kind of stuff. And some of them they can also be very rude, talking to policemen anyhow. So the manner of approach. So all these and more are issues that should be addressed. But most importantly, like I said earlier, there has to be a strong institutional framework. We do not understand the magic of institutions. institutions all over the world. Institutions, the key factor that drives key and strategic development and growth for every nation. So every day I pray to God that that day comes that we'll have leaders that will be visionary enough to sit down and say, no, let us reset the destiny of this nation. Let us put strong institutions in place. Because what we have right now in Nigeria, we have stronger individuals and weak institutions. That's what we have. And no nation can make progress under such kind of situation. Look at what happened recently in Rivers State. Everybody is rejoicing. Oh, the man has gone back, has been asked by the president to go back and be and continue his duty as the governor of Rivers State. But it's a case of a stronger individual and weak institutions. In civilized climes, a president cannot just single-handedly just impose, or just handle a situation like that, like it happened in Rivers State recently. It doesn't make sense. And we say we're a democratic nation. Then the citizens are clapping, nobody seems to see anything wrong with that, because we have become so comfortable with a falsehood, at the altar of psychophancy. Only God will help every one of us. So these things are very important. I think I have something to catch up with now. I have to be on my way. I just felt I should speak about this. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you. I'm still your friend, Dr. Marcus Ekure. Bye for now.